R&R in the morning, a Friday edition. You know what that means to you, the head coach of your Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy joins us as always. Good morning, Coach. How's your Friday feeling?
Feeling good. How's Rudy J doing? Is he there?
Yes,
He's
sir.
here.
What's up, Coach?
All
How are
right,
you?
Rob. All right, good.
We
I
freed
thought
him.
maybe you were solo today.
Yeah.
How's everything in San Antonio?
Pretty good there, Coach. You know,
It's hot still, Coach.
but you know,
Really?
It's still, dude. It was 95 yet. Coach, it was 95 yesterday. I can't believe I just called Mike McCarthy dude. Scratch that. Please delete that. That's so unprofessional. It was 95 yesterday, but anyways, let's talk some football.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Coach. As we get going, we'll just get it out of the way first. What exactly does limited practice mean for your quarterback?
It just means he crossed the threshold of throwing a couple routes in an individual period. So, he was working with the rehab group early before practice. Got some work in the quarterback school. But once you enter the actual practice, and take reps, you have to be at a minimal limited. So, that's specifically what he did. But he's doing well. But he had a little more work yesterday than we anticipated, so it's obviously positive. But we just got to keep working. I'm curious to see how he feels today because he did a lot yesterday.
We spent, of course, I know, Wednesday you sounded kind of beat down with all the Dak questions. So let's ask about some other guys that were inactive last week. I was Jason Peters, Tolbert, Bell, Harper, Wright, Bohanna. How's some of the other guys doing, and are they going to play this week as far as who was inactive against the Rams, Coach?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're all doing well.
Okay.
Jason, I thought he's had two really good back-to-back days, and it doesn't seem like his injury is as bad as the medical staff thought it was. So, but frankly, he worked a bunch yesterday. And so it'll be curious to see how. Today is an important day because this is where you really get a beat on how they feel and so forth. But everybody else has practice, and I think they're in pretty good shape to play this week.
Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star, his weekly conversation. Before we get into scheme and planning for the game, speak to the physicality of your football team. Watching you guys play over the last 4 weeks, it's not a revelation. It's been kind of in the coming for sure, but you guys play tough football, and you're relatively. I know you won't speak out to the health, but for the most part, other than your quarterback, you've stayed pretty healthy too. How do you manufacture a physical football team?
Well, I think it really goes back to the players in the off-season program, and the commitment that these guys make away from the actual game and in their preparation phase of it. So this is a group that's really been here since February. I mean, our 90-man roster going back to the off-season program. So the participation that we have in the strength and conditioning, and they're doing all the little things. I love the locker room and just the education that the older guys are pushing to the younger guys, and because when you get into the end season, there's so much that goes into them taking care of their bodies, and we live in this great city of Dallas where you have the outside sources are abundant for players to make sure they got what they need to get their bodies right. We got a tremendous training staff and the medical staff. So I just think when all those pieces are working together, it gives you a chance to be healthier as a football team. And I think our players are doing an excellent job so far in that area.
Knock on wood.
Yeah. Other than a win Sunday night, Coach, did you get Mr. Jones anything for his birthday yesterday?
Yes, we had it was kind of a special gift, but yes, he's obviously well thought of around here, and 80 is a huge birthday.
It is.
It is. Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
No, it was great to see Jerry enjoy himself.
Looking back to last year, the way you handle Zeke, you're like, hey, if you want to go, you go. It seemed like that, like, hey, you know what, you feel like you're fine, I'm gonna let you be out there. And then last week we saw Micah kind of struggling with the groin. You left him out there. How is the groin, and how do you balance as far as like, hey, the doctors, the player, and you letting a player play through somewhat of an injury?
Well, I just think once again it's the relationships between the players and the staff, and whether it's in week, it was very important for Micah just to get exactly what he needed this week, because obviously, his medical situation was the priority, And and as you grow with younger players, you get to be on the same page with them, and because some guys will tell you everything's okay and just keep going, and then it's not okay.
Mhm.
So you just want to. It's like anything in our business. You got to establish lines of training and other lines to make healthy decisions. But at the end of the day, I think the truth of the matter is, no one knows the player's body better than they do, and that's just something that I've always, communicated with each and every player, and just make sure we have, an understanding, and at the end of the day, you trust your guys to do the right things in the preparation, and you also obviously trust them in the performance arena, just to, they, like I said, they know their bodies better than anybody, and when they can go, you let them go.
It's a fine line to walk. We've seen a
Yep.
quarterback in Miami, went in when he wanted to, and it probably was an unfortunate situation, but we will get past. Real quick, what's quarterback school?
Yeah, we heard you say
We
that
heard you say that a
Wednesday.
couple times this week.
Yeah, I mean, quarterback school is really, if you think about the game of football, and because just like anything, there's always limits and scheduling that affect every position. And in the quarterback position is the one position that really doesn't get to do their individual work. Because when you watch a quarterback come onto the practice field, he has to go work with the run backs, and he goes over and throws it to receivers. Then he's working with the tight ends, and then he's doing some. Then he's doing the run drills, and then he's into the team. So and then you spend the whole off season, and particularly training camp, working all these fundamental drills and so forth. So we which I've always done is it originated back in the 90s, because the off season program always started in April, but we used to have a quarterback school in March, 4 weeks prior to the off season program, and that was the opportunity to break everything down to the nitty gritty on quarterback play, footwork, eye discipline, vision components, to really go through the reads and ask all the questions and detail everything, and spend the time with the quarterbacks. And then when you did get to the group activity, they're already rehearsed, but they were able to really work their fundamentals. So you carry that over into the season. And so really when it happens is the quarterbacks actually go out early. We actually do it in the Ford Center, but they go out 20 minutes early prior to everybody else and practice and work all their individual skill drills and techniques and different throws and so forth. So it's just a continuation of what you do in the off-season program, because that's what gets lost in season, because you're always trying to balance the workload for your players, and the first thing you usually cut is the individual drills.
Well, the prep certainly shows in your quarterback. It's an obvious benefit to the team. Who played scout team quarterback? Who played Jalen Hurts this week?
Will Greer did an excellent job. Will played in that offense in college,
Yeah,
at West Virginia, and frankly, he's done a hell of a job. He's done a nice job running their scheme.
Is he beat up? Is he battered?
You don't touch the QB.
I'll just say this: he wears a red shirt, and he still got touched too much this week.
Yeah, some are more equal than others for sure.
Yeah. He's the defense definitely didn't adhere to the red shirt rule at the level you like, but it's all part of the prep.
Good news.
Back in April, Coach, COO Stephen Jones said that he felt that Dorrance Armstrong was right there on par production-wise with Randy Gregory, losing Randy Gregory, which y'all didn't want to lose as things happen. Would you, now that we're here October 14th, would you agree that Dorrance's play really hasn't been a drop-off from Randy Gregory?
No, when you look at the production of our whole rush group and the defensive front, I think it clearly speaks for itself. And for Dorrance individually, he's just building off of what he's established. I mean, you can see this coming in 2020. He was a younger player that just keeps getting better and better. And and I think he's clearly playing his best football so far this year. But he's always been a huge challenge on special teams for our opponents, and he's just doing an excellent job. In the defensive front with his opportunities. So DA is an instinctive, tough football player. I just love the way he goes about it.
I would not. When we started talking about this game, I was like, well, I think this is the first time they really haven't had a QB that just kind of a pocket presence. But then I looked at the numbers, and Daniel Jones did have 9 carries for 79 yards, but Jalen Hurts averages about 13 rushes per game. What's the difference in preparing for a guy that they actually schedule runs for versus just pocket presence type QB?
Well, it's like anything in this game schematically. It's just really mathematics. When you look at
Mm.
run defense versus the offense, it's really 11 on 10 in the normal deal. But now when you have a running quarterback, so now it's 11 on 11. So you have to factor him into your run defense. So the components of run defense are always the same. You have two contained players. You have a primary force and a secondary force. And you have 9 guys running the ball inside out. So now you add the quarterback to that. So it gives them one extra player to whether to put them in the blocking unit or one extra player to add to the pass concept that is paired with the run. So and that's it's a bit more challenging for your defense.
Coach Mike McCarthy right here on San Antonio Sports Star. He joins us every week, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. As you prep for Philadelphia, is this a scheme kind of thing that you had to prep for? Or is it kind of a matchup kind of a thing that you're prepping for? Because you don't get to see a lot of running teams like that, but you look at the offensive line, there's some matchups in there as well. How do you prep for a team like this that's kind of out of the norm?
Well, it's all the above. It's a scheme challenge, but it's always a matchup challenge. That's the importance of utilizing your scheme against their scheme.
Right.
So there's always a matchup focus to it, and then there's the division game and type of game it's going to be too. So the physicality is part of that preparation too. But yeah, definitely. This is a scheme challenge, and it's and obviously they have a roster that's very, very talented.
Coach, number wise on third down, I want to ask you about third down efficiency because I've heard you a few times say, hey, you know what, our best days are ahead of us. We still got things to work on. Right now, you're at about 30.8% on third down efficiency. Is there a number you would like to be at on third down efficiency that you would like to discuss, or is that off the table?
Oh no, I think when you look over the big picture of your statistics, your goal every week, your weekly goal is to be above 50%. Because when you look at the numbers, that's obviously giving you an opportunity to continue to continue drives, another set of downs, and the common sense part of it. But I think the other thing is with third down, you just got to really look inside of that. Inside those numbers, and right now last couple of weeks we've had too many third and longs, 7+, third and 7+.
Mm-hmm.
So earlier in the year, we were playing in favorable third downs. We didn't convert the 2 to 5. So those are things that when we talk about third down improvement, it's just improving on really first and second down and make sure we stay in the healthy 3rd and 5 or less third down situations, and then obviously that definitely tilts the field towards the offense.
Coach, I appreciated the last couple of weeks as we play NFC East games that you emphasize the history and the stories behind the long-term rivalry. Philadelphia is the rival du jour right now for a Cowboy fan. Did you do something specifically regarding the history with the Eagles?
Rob, you're one step ahead of us here. We have we have another team meeting at 8:00, so I can probably answer that better after the team meeting. But yes, we will have a little historical moment today in the team meeting.
Well,
hey, and lastly, Coach, you got to get out of here. I keep receipts. I heard everybody talking crazy to you, and I've been defending you. And you're only giving up 6 penalties a game, and nobody has a word to say. There was the penalties, and now you're only giving up 6 a game. No penalty questions. That's weird to me. That's all.
Yeah, I look at the penalty emphasis a lot like growing up in my parents' household. When my dad wasn't talking to me as a young kid, I knew I was doing a hell of a job.
There you go, Coach. we live by that axiom in the Thompson household as well. Coach Mike McCarthy stopping by every week. We bid you good health, Coach. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, man. Take care. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Head coach Mike McCarthy right here on San Antonio Sports Star. You don't get that anywhere else around here.